In the world of outlaw motorcycle clubs, few names evoke as much awe and apprehension as the Bandidos. Known for their fierce loyalty and often tumultuous history, the Bandidos Motorcycle Club has carved out its own legendary status across the globe. Founded in the mid-20th century, this formidable club rapidly expanded its reach, riding on the back of sheer power, unrivaled influence, and a code that binds them stronger than blood. Today, we delve into the heart of this brotherhood to uncover the sagas of its 5 most powerful leaders. Number 1. Don Chambers. Don Chambers is celebrated as a pioneering figure in the history of the Bandidos. In the mid-1960s, Chambers gathered a group of friends disillusioned with other biker gangs to form a new brotherhood. They adopted a patch featuring a chubby, sombrero-wearing character named Frito Bandito, which became the club's iconic mascot. Chambers led the Banditos to prominence, transforming them from a local Texas sensation to an international phenomenon. In 1972, Chambers was arrested and received 2 consecutive life sentences for the murder of 2 drug dealers in El Paso. Skip Hollandsworth, the chief editor of Texas Monthly magazine, revealed that the brutal nature of the murders highlighted the ruthlessness of Chambers and his club. In a 2007 profile, Hollandsworth noted that Chambers forced the dealers to dig their own graves and set their bodies on fire before burying them. Chambers passed away in 1999 while on parole, but his defiant spirit endures in one of the Banditos' mottos, "We are the people our parents warned us about," which is engraved on his tombstone at Forest Park in Houston. Number 2. Ronald Jerome, Ronnie Hodge. After Don Chambers was sentenced to life imprisonment for murder in 1972, Ronald Jerome, also known as Ronnie Hodge, took the reins of the already established Banditos Club. If Don Chambers was the spark that ignited the Banditos, Ronnie Hodge was the fuel that kept the fire blazing. As the new president, Ronnie faced the daunting task of guiding the club through a period of significant change and expansion. Initially, the club entered a phase of retrenchment, with Ronnie and other leaders scaling back on violence to focus on lucrative criminal enterprises and drug operations, aiming to keep a low profile. Under his leadership, the Banditos underwent substantial expansion, although not without facing numerous challenges. The 70s and 80s were marked by territorial disputes, rivalries, and intense gang wars. During this era, Ronnie helped the Banditos establish a presence beyond Texas, including in Australia. On Father's Day in 1984, chaos erupted in Milpara, a suburb of Sydney, New South Wales, resulting in the Milpara Massacre, which left 7 people dead and 28 others seriously injured. Despite feeling like an outsider throughout his life, Ronnie adeptly managed the Banditos' affairs until he eventually passed on leadership. Number 3. Glenn Merritt. Glenn emerges as another legendary figure in the Banditos' history, starting in the late 1990s. He quickly establishes himself as a key player, especially as the leader of the influential Bellingham chapter. Glenn asserts his authority through conflicts with smaller motorcycle clubs and by engaging in meth distribution and trafficking in bike parts. Beyond these activities, his charisma and leadership skills help the Bellingham chapter flourish, even as local authorities struggle to keep up. Under Glenn's leadership, the chapter not only organizes wild parties and charity events, which often end in gunfights and arrests, but also cements a reputation for the Banditos as rebels with a cause. This period lasts until June 8, 2005, when Glenn is arrested in a series of pre-dawn raids conducted by federal agents and local police. The case against him is significant, with Assistant United States Attorney Bruce Miyake noting in a memo, that Glenn has a long history of illegal activities including drug distribution, trafficking in stolen motor vehicles, and violence. Miyake describes Glenn as having fully embraced an outlaw attitude, evidenced by his bold behavior. Nevertheless, Glenn quickly pleads guilty and is sentenced to 4 years in prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release, after which he effectively retires from the club. Number 4. George Wiegers. Born in the early 1950s in Whatcom County, Washington, George Wiegers is expected to lead a typical life, and for the most part, he does, except for his fascination with a Harley-Davidson motorcycle that a neighbor regularly parks nearby. This fascination blossoms into a full-blown passion, and as soon as he's old enough, George joins a motorcycle club, opting for the Bandidos. Once he becomes a member, there's no turning back. By 1998, George rises to become the international president of the Bandidos. In a groundbreaking move, he relocates the club's headquarters from Texas to Bellingham, Washington, solidifying their presence as a major force in the area. Unlike many of his predecessors, George, affectionately known as Gorgie, takes a hands-on approach to influence the operations of every chapter, a detail Edward Winterhalter highlights in his book, Out in Bad Standings. Despite his intentions to maintain a low profile, George's tenure is cut short when he's arrested in 2005, following a 2-year federal investigation. Facing overwhelming evidence, including recordings from phone taps, he pleads guilty and receives a substantially reduced sentence of just 20 months. His active involvement with the Bandidos ends in 2010 after he sustained spinal injuries in a motorcycle accident, leading to his official retirement from the club. Number 5. Jeffrey Pikes. When George Wiegers is arrested in 2005, Jeffrey Pikes, his vice president, steps up as the leader of the Bandidos, and his tenure marks a significant departure from those of his predecessors. Intent on expanding the Bandidos' territory, Jeffrey soon finds himself clashing with other powerful motorcycle clubs. In 2006, alongside his vice president John Xavier Portillo, Jeffrey orders the assassination of Anthony Benesch, who was trying to establish a Texas chapter of the Hells Angels and had disregarded the Bandidos' warnings to stop recruiting. This action, aimed at maintaining their stronghold in Texas, the most crucial Bandito state, eventually leads to severe repercussions. Jeffrey and Portillo lead the Banditos for 13 successful years. However, their past actions catch up with them in May 2018 when they are arrested and charged with the murders of members of rival clubs, as well as facing allegations of violence, racketeering, and drug trafficking. In September 2018, Jeffrey is sentenced to life imprisonment, plus an additional 10 years, bringing an end to a turbulent era that would remain a significant chapter in the history of the Banditos, as recounted by its loyal members. As we reach the end of our first chapter, the legacies of these 5 leaders remain etched in the annals of biker lore. Their ambitions and actions not only sculpted the early days of the Banditos, but also set the stage for a new era of leadership. Thank you for watching. Don't miss part 2 of our series, where we dive deeper into the saga of the Banditos. Until then, keep the spirit of curiosity alive.